I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. At the top of Tuesday's Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, Ranking Member Senator Chuck Grassley decried attacks and threats on pro-life institutions and Supreme Court justices. The hearing on a post-Roe v. Wade America brought together a mixture of pro-choice and pro-life politicians, experts, and guests. Grassley praised the Supreme Court's recent decision striking down Roe v. Wade and focused his ire on the response to threats made to Supreme Court justices who voted to overturn the landmark 1973 ruling. The Iowa Republican called President Biden and the DOJ's response to a threat on Justice Kavanaugh's life, quote, extremely disappointing, while detailing other problematic actions against members of the pro-life side. Let's listen in to his opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a very important hearing. I cast my first pro-life vote February 1972. As a member of the Iowa House of Representatives, there was a motion before the House to repeal Iowa's ban on abortion. I was one of 44 people in a 44-44 vote that voted not to repeal that bill. And obviously on a 44-44 vote, it didn't happen. Then next year, we had Roe v. Wade, and it was never an issue in the Iowa legislature until potentially it could be now as a result of Roe's overturn. We're here today because the Supreme Court has corrected a wrong that has impacted millions of lives since 1973. We're here because the Supreme Court, in a meticulous and well-reasoned opinion, returned the decision of abortion back to the states. For many Americans, this decision is about far more than correcting a flawed legal analysis in Roe. It means protecting the rights of the unborn. This ruling doesn't ban the practice of abortion, but instead empowers the people through their accounted elected representatives to make common sense policy decisions. It takes policy out of the hands of unelected judges. I understand with a decision of this magnitude comes differences of opinion and robust debate on the next steps. That's okay, and I welcome that. We live in a democracy, and with differences of opinion and passion for policies, all that followed by thoughtful debate can lead us to the best outcomes for the American people. However, the treatment of Supreme Court justices, pregnancy centers, and conservative women has been outrageous since Dobbs' decision was leaked. Remember this, 8 out of 10 Americans do not support abortion on demand right up to the time of birth. First, regardless of the views on this issue, we should all respect the role of our impartial judiciary and the decisions that it renders. Seeking to intimidate or attack the court or undermine its credibility because of an outcome that you don't agree with is dangerous, and that's not an answer. Justices have had their addresses published online, have been subjected to illegal pressure campaigns at their family homes, and one justice was even the victim of an attempted assassination. I've called on the Justice Department to enforce the law and protect the justices and their families from these very real threats. The lack of a response from both the Justice Department and the White House is extremely disappointing. Along with the threats against the justices, threats against pro-life and crisis pregnancy centers have dramatically increased since the leak of the Dobbs decision by pro-abortion extremists such as Jane's Revenge and Ruth Sent Us. They've been at least 40 violent attacks on crisis pregnancy centers religious institutions, and other pro-life entities since the Dobbs leak and before the court even issued its final opinion. The first pictures I have with me is a crisis pregnancy center in North Carolina that was vandalized with pro-abortion and pro-Antifa graffiti. That is in the corner. In the corner is the Antifa sign. Another one in Oregon was set on fire, causing significant damage, as you can see behind me. I pray for these centers and the thousands of patients they serve every day. I encourage all of my colleagues, as well as myself, to condemn the violence and vandalism. I want to ensure that these violent attacks are recognized by the FBI and are being properly investigated for what they are, cases of abortion-related violent extremism. Let me be clear, very clear. Threats and violence are not the answer. I also want to bring your attention to the incredible group of women that we have here with us today. We know women have been the center of the pro-life movement and tirelessly advocating for the lives of the unborn and the well-being of mothers everywhere. I'd like to introduce to you a few of these women, in addition to our witnesses, who I'll introduce in a moment. We have here with us today Dr. Christina Francis. Dr. Francis is an OB-GYN in Indiana. She's chair of the board of the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and a board member of the Indiana Right to Life. Dr. Francis spent time working with orphans in Romania and Burma, and working for 3 years as the only OB-GYN at a mission hospital in rural Kenya. She has dedicated her life, professionally and personally, to treating women, protecting the lives of the unborn, and educating people on the dangers of the abortion industry. We are also fortunate to have someone like her in the practice of medicine. Also, Catherine Glenn Foster with us, who has in the past been a witness before this committee. She serves as president and CEO of the Americans United for Life. Catherine often shared her story of having an abortion at 19 due to the extreme emotional and psychological pressure she faced. Catherine felt alone after her decision. I'm sorry for the loss that you experienced, Catherine, and I hope that we can do better to give young women the love and support they deserve no matter what. Janet Derg is the executive director of the Capitol Hill Pregnancy Center, just down the road from us a short way. Capitol Hill Pregnancy Center provides compassionate care as well as complete, accurate information pertaining to pregnancy and pregnancy options. They too also have dealt with vandalism of their clinic. However, they continue to provide services such as counseling in childbirth and parenting classes. Thank you, Janet, for the work that the center does to serve those in D.C. area who need support the most. I also want to thank representatives of the incredible groups that we have here today: March for Life, Susan B. Anthony Liz, Concerned Women of America, Iowa Catholic Bishops, Family Research Council, to name a few. You'll also do incredible work in zealously advocating for the lives of the unborn as well as women's health, and for that I thank you. Let's have a productive discussion today on how we can best support women and families coming forward. But as I said before, threatening justices, pregnancy centers, and churches is not the answer. I hope the extreme rhetoric that gives rise to this violence won't be a part of our conversation today. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to request to enter into the record the statements from Live Action and the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Thank you.
Without objection, and let me